Hey yo, welcome back to AIW's The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs. As always, I am joined by AIW owner John Thorne. What's up, Thorne?
I'm here. I'm joining, as always.
Look at us.
I think I only missed one podcast.
Yeah, I think. So that would be in line. You only missed one ever show and one ever podcast.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of missed one Girls' Night Out once, but I was there when it started, but then I had to drive all the way to Akron as soon as it started to pick up Athena, and then by the time we got back, the show was over, and then we were going to do the second taping.
I mean, that counts. You were there for attendance, and then, you know what I mean? Like, that counts in my books.
Well, I'm here.
All right. Go ahead, sorry.
I'm ready to podcast.
I was going to say, look at us go.
Trying to keep the streak going. You, however, prevented us from a day. Pushed us back, breaking schedule.
You know, I told you I had to strike while the iron was hot on that one. I had somebody who wanted to buy some sports cards off me, and as a friend of mine, another guy I know who owns a business, when the people want to make spend money, you don't get in the way. People wanted to buy cards, I wanted to sell them, so I had to take care of that.
We're gonna have to do a Patreon card podcast.
I was going to say that's a good segue because I actually did talk to Dom about that, and he is gung-ho for it. So we'll definitely, that's going to be in the works. We're going to do AIW Patreon show of talking cards, man, trading cards. Cards are back, baby.
Let's do it.
As always, want to thank the sponsor, The Exchange, for sponsoring AIW. If you'd like to sponsor, anyone that wants to sponsor AIW, feel free to reach out to EVP Coach Jim.
Jim at AIWrestling.com.
Jim at AIWrestling.com. There's plenty of different options to go the sponsorship route. We work with all kinds. So if you feel like you have a company or brand or anything like that wants to partner with AIW, let's do it. We got all summer. So,
and as you will hear on this podcast, boy, do we need some sponsors. So we get into this week's doom and gloom.
Yeah, we went from hard sell to doom and gloom right off the rip here.
Doom and gloom. Here we are.
We are going to discuss AIW's most recent show, AIW Cibernetico De Mayo. That was at the Outpost in Kent, Ohio. And a bit of an up and down with the Kent scene. That was our third show there, and the first sparsely attended, second was greatly attended, and then now this third one,
sparsely attended.
Sparsely attended, I'll say. What are your initial thoughts? I guess let's say after the show, because I know going into it you were pretty worried about ticket sales and whatnot. Walk us through it, what your thoughts were.
Well, it was far worse than I thought it was going to be after I talked to Pedro Monday for our little, so either the day after or at the very latest Monday, Pedro, gives me he wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'll wake up to a full, CFO accounting report of the show. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it was bad, and then it looked okay, Yeah.
But
then when I got that report, I went, "Wow, that was." I didn't even imagine that could even be that bad.
Yeah.
But we did bump a lot of people's pay up and things like that a few months ago. So that stuff is now adding up substantially.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you want to do it because you want to take care of everybody, especially people who've been putting in the work. But yeah, man, in the end,
trying to compete with his economy,
It's inflation around here, for God's sakes. It's attacking everyone.
But yeah, it was. So it was not good. And I don't know if we'll be back at the Outpost. It's just kind of. The deal is constantly kind of evolved since the first one. It was hey, we want to, just buy this show flat out off you from the first one.
Yeah. And
then the second one was oh, hey, this did really good. You owe us money, a lot of money day of, which, we weren't expecting. And then we really didn't know what we were walking into on this one because they were aware that the Winchester canceled, you know what I mean? And they were like, oh, hey, we'll pick up one of those dates. And they wanted the Cinco de Mayo one because it's, a drinking holiday or whatever. Mm-hmm. But certainly did not get the guarantee. Unfortunately, like the liaison guy that kind of sets this up, Chris from the Odeon, they hit him with the big rental fee because he kind of facilitated it, and so yeah, I don't know. Just did not go too well.
The thing that's crazy about it, and I'll say too, is it's weird, and it's just crazy that these venues and these places, they will just change things on you day of, or tell you about some fee or some fine, or we have to charge you for this. And like you said, that could have been the third time we've ran there and it's never been a thing, or this and that. But then what do you do? Because they're
got a big fine at the Shrine. I got a big fine at the Shrine last show too. So
right, I remember you saying that too. But it's like, so what do you do? Because they essentially have you over the coals. If anything, they could just, we just won't do. You're not paying. I guess we just won't do the show. They just don't open the doors. You know what I mean? So it's like they put our backs against the wall in these situations, and it just seems to happen. It's just so crazy. That's just the
nature.
Time.
You know what I mean? That's just the nature of the entertainment business. You know what I mean? It's kind of, and I know, we're not the only promoters that deal with this, and it happens in all facets of entertainment. Music, comedy. You know what I mean? Like there's all, just all sorts of just kind of. What's behind door number 2, hidden fee. So we didn't get hit with that, but I mean, Chris got hit with that, unfortunately, which, we certainly didn't get the guarantee from the, last year either, so it was just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It was just, it's unfortunate too, because I thought that the show was fun. It was good. But, like, at the end of the day, it's a business, and, you can't pay the bills with fun. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We're hopeful that maybe people streamed it. You know what I mean? We can recoup some stuff, back end. But, I mean, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Like, some people say, like, oh, are you going to bring in outside talent or something like that? And it's like, we're not like, just because people come out of school, like, we're not paying them $10, like there's, kind of a pay scale, so to speak. And, so it's like, could I say, hey, guys, sorry, you know what I mean? It did bad. Nobody's getting paid. Yeah, but, like, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? Everybody works so hard. You know what I mean? It's just like, even outside of, you know what I mean, doing, wrestling, like logistics and setting up and, just the whole machine. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not, that's on me. We got to pay it. And, like, I thought it was a pretty conservative card. But, when you're well under 100 tickets sold, you know what I mean? Like, that's just the nature of the game right now.
I mean, I think it's a lot more out of pocket than people think. When you're, like you said, you're selling such a low amount of tickets, you are at a point now in AIW where, like you said, that was kind of a thing in the olden days where, hey, the house was light. Hey, that's where the phrase comes from. The house was light, boys. And, you hear about these things that promoters did, sketchy stuff. And that's, you are trying to aim AIW in a new direction of, that's not how it is. People get paid. You show up, you do the work, you're there, you get paid. And like you said, that's even been bumped up, like you said, just because they're coming out of the school and you're not handing out $10 bills, so when you sell, under 100 tickets, you're coming out of pocket for a lot. Tom, that was a fly-in. People don't realize, Tom, you got to fly Tom in. That's a plane ticket, hotel.
I mean, that plane tickets, from Vegas was $600 right off the rip. So, you know what I mean? That's like that's the jumping off point. I mean, I'm not going to go through all the financials. Like, I'm sure that would bore everybody to death, but, yeah, it just it didn't go well, you know, like, we were hoping like, hey man, maybe there'll be a big walk up or something. And I think walk up was like 10 people, you know? So it was just like, it didn't go well, you know, 10, 20 people. I don't know. I think the grand total was just over 50 something total. So, I mean, we haven't had a show like that, you know, in quite some time. I guess the first time we did Kent was, you know, I think there's actually more people there, honestly.
I want to say, like, seriously, since I think I've been coming to AIW, it was like the Kent show that we did, which there was even more. I feel like there was maybe more people than that was this show. But the last time I can think of a crowd that sparsely attended was legit Jelly of the Month Club at Mount Carmel. And it was like December, middle of December, terrible weather.
That
like
was way
like
more. I mean,
night.
that was way over 100 some people though.
I'm just saying. I'm like, I guess maybe Mount Carmel makes it seem more spread out, you know, bigger and like, but whatever.
Yeah,
but like that, it was that
space.
long ago that I could even think of a crowd where there was like low amount of people.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, I don't know, you know. So we had talked about doing more dates prior to this, and then. Nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I know that they wanted us to try the summer out there again, but I just don't think that we could do it. You know, like it's too risky at this point.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like, because there was a lot of things thrown around as far as, you know, it was Cinco de Mayo, and in that neighborhood, college or whatever, it's like a very house party type of like holiday for college.
The issue
kids
is like that. You know, I guess the semester like ended earlier in the week, and like it was finals, and like I don't know, like we went to a bar afterwards. Like it didn't seem like there was even that many people around. You know,
interesting. Yeah, I had to jet out of there. I wasn't able to go to the after party, but
yeah, I mean, we went to like downtown college campus bars, Kent, and like not really much going on.
I saw Philadelphia Collins got a fucking chili dog, and boy, oh boy, I was jelly. I missed that. I like chili dogs, and I was kind of bummed I missed that at the after party.
According to Kaplan, there was somebody that was just cooking pancakes on the street and selling them. But
that's incredible.
I didn't encounter the pancake salesman.
I don't think that's something that Kaplan would lie about personally. You know, he probably bought some and ate them.
But yeah, I mean, you know, other than the financials, I thought the show was good.
Yeah. So yeah, right. Exactly. What were your thoughts as far as like the wrestling aspect and the card and how it was delivered in that sense?
I mean, the Cibernetico, I thought over delivered. I mean, last year we were so worried about it, but we put a lot more experienced guys in the Cibernetico. You know what I mean? Like it was more seasoned students or locals or whatever you want to call them in the Cibernetico last year. So while we were, you know, unsure if we can even pull it off, and we did, this year there's people literally under a year into their careers that they don't even know what a 6-man tag is, let alone you know, a Cibernetico match. So I mean, Sam Holloway, I said, thanks for the house, and he didn't even know what that meant. So, like, that goes to show you what we're working with here. You know, like, totally oblivious to this concept of a match, the majority of the people in it. So I was super, super worried that it was not going to go as well as it did last year.
And I mean, I think the match was great, especially like you said with the experience that was in there. I thought this year over delivered in a big way.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it certainly over delivered in the ring. I thought it told a great story throughout. I watched the whole thing, and you know, while it was like sparsely attended, it did keep the attention of those in the crowd, and you know, there were certainly people in the crowd that also did not know what a fucking Cibernetico match was or understand what was going on. But they started to catch on as it progressed. And I mean, I don't know what the time was, and I don't know if you kept time on it or not, but
yes,
it was long.
Yeah, I want to say it was like 68 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I figured it would be over an hour. So yeah, I mean, I was super happy with it. I mean, if you didn't stream it, the replay's up right now on Fite. Please go out of your way to watch that show and kind of bump those numbers up if you can. But I thought it was a great, like we talked about last week, a great learning experience for so many of these kids coming out of school. A lot of them, got to. It's on the fly. You know what I mean? Like you're out there for a long time. So you can't, there's sometimes you're out of the ring for, 10 minutes. So like, you don't even know what's going on or where you're at, like it gets very, very, very confusing if you're a performer. So, I was super proud of everybody that was in the match. I thought it delivered. I thought, all the way, into the home stretch was especially great.
Yeah, I thought the whole entire show, to be honest, that the crowd was really into it and paying attention. I mean, I know with the sparse numbers, it's not hard. There was not that many people to keep entertained, but I do feel like the crowd was really hot all night, and they really, in deep with the match and what was happening and following along. There was no lulls in the match. You say a 68-minute match, you feel like, there definitely could be some periods where people, especially like you said, of people who have never seen a match like that, you start to maybe look at your phone for a second or this or that. I feel like there was no points in that match where it was like, well, what are we doing here? Like it went the way they wanted it to the whole way. There was no like, oh shit moment.
Right. And like, no mess ups, no, you know what
right.
I mean? Like it was just, it flowed very well. But I guess, I don't know, we should probably start from the top. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. I guess I wanted an overall opinion, but I mean, the Cibernetico is one that was a big, what's the word here I'm thinking of a glaring opinion on your behalf. But, so yeah, starting out the match, we did have an unannounced match. We got, Vic Vice. Go ahead. Sorry.
This was added the day of.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that wasn't on the card that we had discussed on the podcast and all that. And the guy's name is Anthony Young. Correct. Anthony Young. Yeah.
He's done a couple shows. So when obviously we kept the show conservative and obviously money and all that stuff, but when I was looking, you know what I mean, when I was like kind of mapping out the card, like I was like, even with the Cibernetico, like this is like a hour and a half show, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I was just like, we got to add a little bit something, to kind of stretch it out a little bit. So we were going to put it on the pre-show, and I just said, you know what, let's just start the show with it and kind of, let it drag out, because I was also worried, you know what I mean? These people, if the Cibernetico came up on them too quick, you know what I mean? Nobody was going to be ready, because, a lot of these guys were kind of in their own world backstage, kind of trying to, get their heads together. And, if that match, came out of nowhere, it was like, okay, time to go. Like, I think it could have potentially been disastrous. So I honestly, I added this match, even though there's all the, worry about money and all that. Like, I added the match just as a way to stretch time for the Cibernetico guys, to kind of give them a little bit of breathing room before they had to go out.
Yeah, and I feel like it was a good match. You have a guy, like you said, Anthony Young, who's been in AIW a few times, showed some stuff. He was unfortunately on the end of a Isaiah Broner draw there, card there, but that's not going to be easy. But we've seen him a few times. But a guy on the other side of the card, Vic Vice, who I think has shown a lot of up and coming talent, and in the tag scene with H2V2, now he got a little chance to shine, and come out and show what he can do in a singles match.
This was, and I mean, Vic Vice getting on the card was 100%. His coaches advocating for him, Dominic Guarini, Derek Dillinger, everybody at the school. just saying how much work he's been putting in over the last few months, not missing classes, getting up there, doing the seminars. He was one of the few that did the Fred Rosser seminar. Dom was really pushing to get him on the card, even though at the time there's nothing for him. And then day of, I decided, we probably should put something on there to stretch time. And the whole idea was that, honestly, was Dom trying to kind of push Vic onto the card on me. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what even got the wheels turning on that to even be a possibility to stretch time for those guys.
And I mean, I think, like I said, I think that's great. You get a guy like that who gets a chance to kind of show, you do put in the work, and hey, you're going to get an opportunity to show what you can do. Hey, it was a sparsely attended crowd, but hey, it's out there. It's on iPay-per-view, stuff like that. You can go back and watch it. You always got to show out when you get an opportunity.
Right, absolutely. And I thought they did great. You know what I mean? The match didn't overstay its welcome at all, and I thought it was a good way to start off the show.
It was kind of like what we talked about with previous shows where, not everybody's going to go out there, even in a show like this where there is a lot of space. You know what I mean? You say we added this show for time to kind of give the guy some time, but that doesn't mean you wanted them to go out there and, fuck around for 20 minutes. They got in, got out, did what they needed to do, and told a great story. I think it was like 6.5 minutes. And I think that shows a lot for both of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I was happy with it. You know what I mean? And it gives both guys a good singles match to have to show to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, it's
right.
Never hurts to have a good 6-minute match to show another promoter.
Absolutely. Coming up after that was a match that I was really looking forward to. We had Cisco Silver versus Dom Guarini, a match on paper that obviously is going to be something to watch. What did you think about it?
I thought this was. I mean, this was, I don't know how you felt or anybody else felt, but like, to me, this was as advertised in my head. It certainly lived up to the expectations I had for it. Told them to take their time out there and just kind of grapple around and feel each other out. And I thought it was great. I think Cisco is certainly embracing the fact that people don't like him. You know what I mean? And he's he's playing into that, which, some people would be, a little shook by that or, not know how to react to that. But he's certainly kind of embracing the role. But I thought it was really good. You know what I mean? I didn't watch the whole thing. I'm not gonna lie, because there was a lot going on, getting ready for the Cibernetico. Mm-hmm. But what I saw, I was extremely happy with that, and I thought it delivered. I haven't watched the back on Fite yet, though.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. I obviously had nowhere to be except for the desk, so I watched the whole thing. I thought it was, like you said, exactly as delivered, as advertised. But I think I'd like to see some more of this. I feel like this is a series, a program that we could get. I feel like we could see a lot more from these two. I think, what is as advertised with these two is one thing that they could do, but I think both of them could bring another style, even maybe 2 or 3 styles to this match that we could see. If we saw more of this, I think they could really surprise a lot of people. Yeah,
I mean, I think they both certainly have additional skill sets, I'll say, that I think they would want to showcase. It's just, that's the thing, though. It's like we harp on it, but when the Winchester went down, it kind of removed the ability to have these matches where people can go out and try things and establish themselves and develop. And I feel like if we had those shows, like somebody like Cisco Silver would certainly be, ascending rapidly. That was the hope, with the Outpost would get going, and maybe we'd add, they would pick up all those canceled Thursdays, but I don't think that's going to happen now. I do have a couple meetings that are seem to be on the horizon, closer to Cleveland. So we'll see how that goes as well. But I'm still trying to work on it. It's
I like the Thursday date a lot.
I think it's a great night for wrestling. I think you know what I mean. As long as we can pull 100 or more. It's like certainly could be a break-even point on most Thursday night wrestling cards. So, I'm working on it still. It's a lot. If anybody out there has a large bar near the Cleveland area and wants entertainment on a Thursday night, feel free to also email EVP Jim at jim@awrestling.com. But we're working on it because we do have a lot of people, especially this class that debuted last year that certainly could use the reps, and we probably got some more debuts on the horizon in the next few months. So we have no shortage of wrestlers, but we do have a shortage of wrestling cards to put them on, unfortunately.
Right. Moving on, we had Ziggy, Big Zig versus Jossie. I think this was a great match. Like you said, I think this was a show that, Big Zig got an opportunity again to show what she can do in a role where, like you said, last time she was kind of in a babyface role. Now you go up against Joss, who is the pinnacle of AIW's women's wrestling, these days, and she's maybe not the babyface in this one. You know what I mean? Back, it could be.
It certainly splits the crowd a little bit, but I don't think anybody's ever going to boo Jocelyn Navarro. I mean, at least not at this current. You know what I mean? Part of her career where she is really coming into her own as an in-ring performer.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the thing. Much like Cisco Silver. You know what I mean? Ziggy Heim would probably be getting a rep on every single one of those Winchester shows. I mean, that was the plan, was to bring in different girls, get Ziggy in there as more of a performer role on the Thursday gigs, and start kind of developing people. Unfortunately, I'll say it till the end of time, like the Winchester really kind of fucked some shit up for us, and our plans and things were planned out all the way through the end of 2023. So now I'm trying to get Zig in where I can, and there was an opportunity here on this card. There at one point both of Ziggy and Jocelyn were potentially going to be in the Cibernetico, but we opted to kind of pull them out and give them, their own platform to shine, and, not kind of, I don't want to say get lost in the shuffle of the Cibernetico, but I thought that this was better for, Ziggy to get some quality time in a singles match. And, Jocelyn is just, I think on another level as far as, her in-ring skills. She's just progressed so much in the last 3 years or so. So I just thought that this was a great learning experience for Ziggy.
Yeah, and I just think it fit better as a singles match as opposed to being in the Cibernetico because, like you said, I mean, it just gave them both, not that Joss needed extra time, but she needs, they both needed time to kind of show what they can do, and I think this was a great, like I said, it was another match that didn't go out there and take forever. They didn't go crazy over time. I think it was really good, and it was exactly what we needed it to be on this show, and I think the way that you've been pacing these cards and building everything out, I think it all flows really well. It was unfortunately, like you said, I hate to harp on it, sparsely attended, whatever, poorly attended, but I think these shows are all really kind of leading and building to, a great story being told all overall in each show.
And, I don't want to, skip over the fact that, Jocelyn has really kind of taken on a bit of a coaching role at the academy, and she mentors quite a few different people at the academy. So I thought that this was also a great experience for her to kind of get in there as almost a player coach, and like I said, give them some time and let them go out there and try to tear it up. And I thought it was great. You know what I mean? I think Ziggy continues to improve. And I think that there's, a lot of potential with her.
Yeah, I mean, I think the crowd was with it the whole time. I think, like you said, in the role of, especially with the outcome, Big Zig didn't get the victory, but she definitely, I think, earned the respect of Joss, who, like I said, as a teacher and kind of a mentor in this role, getting that from Joss in that match and getting the reaction from the crowd, I think, was probably great for both of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving forward, the next match, the tag team match, a lot to be said about this one. A title match, title change. A lot of things happened in this. Yeah, what do you want to say?
Well, I mean, the match was whatever, but I mean, obviously, you don't want to see anybody get hurt. And that was kind of crazy because I wasn't at the monitor, and people were kind of yelling for me, and I didn't know what was going on, and I'd gone out there, and by that time, Jeremy's over there and Duke's over there, and there's a bunch of people over there. What I will say is, that wasn't the way it was supposed to go. I guess Duke getting whatever his prognosis was from Jeremy. Duke kind of made the call and told the ref, change the finish because Jeremy thinks that it will probably be several months based on what he could see that Eric Taylor will be out. So that was kind of a that's never really happened before, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Duke kind of made that executive decision, and based on I guess what Jeremy told him, and we were all kind of, I don't know. It was I've never had something like that happen. You know what I mean? Like it was just it was crazy, and I mean he was just in so much pain. Like I don't know, and
yeah. It's very unfortunate to see anybody go down ever, but he definitely, and I couldn't watch too much because I've had severe leg trauma, so I could not look too much or pay too much attention because a little PTSD from that.
I just don't know what's going on. It's like we just are having bad luck with legs. You know what I mean? 2 months in a row. Broner goes down and will be out for several months, and now Eric Taylor, same thing, goes down, probably going to be out for several months. And I don't, it's just it sucks because I really feel like Eric Taylor was really coming into his own, and Bitcoin was really kind of on this like almost transition. You know what I mean? Like It felt like people were really getting behind them. Even with the Duke with them and all that stuff, I feel like they were really kind of finally kind of were figuring it out and clicking with the crowd. Obviously Eric Taylor had that big run in J-Lit last year that kind of shocked some people. Mm-hmm. And it's just it's super, super unfortunate. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, even though they're in a role in AIW where you would almost kind of say they're probably in the heel role, obviously, they were definitely coming around to a place where people were on their side for, almost kind of like...
Well, I think, like, it's not like... I think, like, wrestling fans are kind of smart enough to where it's like, they know, you know what I mean? They're at a show. But, like, it's, like, one thing to be, like, hated... And it's one thing to be like, okay, you know what I mean? You're accepted in what you're doing and how you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And like, I feel like they were finally kind of starting to have a little bit of fun and loosen up. And, I think the crowd was really kind of getting with it for once. And, man, it just sucks. So, yeah, I don't know. I just was, I was told it was bad, and I was trying to get people to help carry him, and it
was a very chaotic scene for sure.
And we weren't supposed to go to intermission there. So I'm obviously calling that audible. Because we were going to do the spin the wheel, make the deal, and then have a long intermission if the Cibernetico needed it. But you can't just like keep it rolling with that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I didn't know if we needed to call an ambulance. Like, I didn't know what was going on. So I was like, Steve, you got to call intermission. I'm trying to get Chase that information because Chase has like things that he plays on the stream,
right?
There's
a lot that he does, and he is a person who wants to know that.
You know what I mean? Like you have to coordinate with the sound guy at the venue. So like, I get good on Duke, I guess, for kind of making the executive decision. Like he was out there, he got the word from Jeremy, and he kind of was like, we can't have. We can't have tag champions like that are not gonna be able to defend the titles for months. So, that's just one of those things where you got to kind of roll with it and go on the fly. I mean, I don't know if I would have made that split decision. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even think about that. But Duke told the ref, and that's just the way it wound up.
And with that, new tag champs.
Yeah, I mean, that's another. You got to roll. You got to roll with it. Like those guys didn't have more dates. You know what I mean? Like there's just there's a lot that this kind of like I don't know, like the snowball effect, I guess, or the butterfly effect of like all the chaos that this caused. I guess Eric has to go back and see somebody this week or something. Because, unfortunately for him, he had his sister was getting married the next day.
Oh, jeez.
I just think he did. I don't know. Went to an emergency room. I know that much, but I haven't spoken to him like super in depth. I know that he's waiting to go back this week because he had to go out of town for this wedding. So I don't even really know.
So brutal.
But I guess it would be at least a few months from what I'm told.
I hate to see that injury list growing like that. It's very, very disheartening. So,
and I mean, I fully admit that like I do not have the full scope of exactly what's going on because, I had to go to Colin's wedding, and then you know what I mean. I have some family stuff going on, so like I have not had a lot of time to kind of follow up on this. I've just a few texts here and there with Eric. But once I know more from him, I'll be able to tell people more. But I'm not prepared at the time of this recording to give you guys a full breakdown of exactly what the injuries are.
Well, we've been doing this thing weekly here, so we're on a streak. So we should be able to be back next week. Maybe we'll have some more information for you. Moving forward from that, we did go on intermission. Go ahead, sorry.
And we did try to do like a Broner podcast for Patreon, but it kind of the files got fucked up and corrupted. Justin Summers yelled at me about it, but I mean,
yeah,
I guess you could, since you did the interview, you can kind of give the synopsis. It was only 10 minutes, but
yeah, we just kind of sat down for a minute at Dam and just kind of talked about his injury and what had happened. He definitely said he's going to be out for a little while, a few months of time. We basically just kind of talked about, how he deals with injury, he still wants to come to shows, still wants to be around, how he deals with that type of stuff. A few, basic questions, but it is up if you want to join the Patreon, which, as we've discussed, hemorrhaging a bit of money here lately. We would love it if we got some new signups for Patreon. We are trying to do some more content out there. We're trying to put some more stuff up. Like I said, me and Dom are going to be doing a Patreon podcast about trading cards. I'm doing some interviews, trying to get some stuff on record, before shows. I was unfortunately unable to go to the after party, but I'm going to be trying to do some stuff there after party wise, maybe even with some fans, maybe try to hit the parking lot, talk to some fans. So we're definitely going to be putting out some Patreon content here soon.
I'm so bad at this, but am I correct that he tore his calf? Is that what he did?
Yeah, it was something with his calf muscle. I don't remember exactly.
I think the calf or part of the calf was tore off the bone or something, because I know initially that they thought it was an Achilles.
Yeah, he had done his Achilles before, and he thought maybe that's what it was, but it was something like he said with the muscle in his calf kind of like ripped.
Just exposing like what a piece of shit I am that I don't really know about all of these injuries on my roster.
Well, I mean, I think to the same point, to a point though, like, you don't want to, if somebody's in an injury, you don't want to be really bothering him. He's injured. He's told you a little bit about it. You've discussed it a little bit. I don't think you really.
I just kind of like defer to the person. You know what I mean? Like, hey,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, let me know what you need. Nobody ever says they need anything, like from me. So, it's like I don't get too much information. I mean, I'm not trying to laugh about it, but you know what I mean? Like,
no, but I get what you mean.
Information,
You're trying to give somebody their space.
I don't know if people,
you know what I mean?
Well, like, and I don't know if people kind of like don't, you know what I mean? Like, they don't want to seem injured to me, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
right? Yeah, that's something I never thought about.
It's a weird dynamic. So, like, I'm gonna try to get information out of Eric Taylor. But yeah.
No, that's definitely an interesting point that you make, though, because you have this role, right, where you're the guy in charge. So if all of a sudden
people just don't even talk to me, you know what I mean? Like, they just don't talk to me.
It's weird. I
don't think people realize that either. People like avoid me at the shows. Like,
students. Oh, it's funny when you will get new students or some people start to come around, and you can tell sometimes they'll go, "Hey, John," like they're very, very timid and kind of like don't want to talk to you. It's an interesting dynamic for sure. I love to watch it from afar.
Yeah. So hopefully an update soon. That's all I know.
Yeah. Moving forward, we did have intermission, but then we had the match. The spin the wheel, make the deal. Tom Lawler, 40th.
Well, if anybody, and I just want to point out, sure. Anybody that has been behind the curtain, which is probably none of you listening to this, maybe a couple of guys on the roster. Chase Oliver really can flow with a change, like having to go to an impromptu intermission.
Listen, he's under a lot of stress back there. I gotta take up for my.
Do you want to? Well, here's a little funny tidbit about the show that I just remembered is right when we're starting the stream, like
the slam.
everything goes haywire. Like, there's no sound in Chase's headphones, and like something freezes or something, and he starts slamming his cell phone and blah blah blah. He's going nuts and he's screaming, and like he slams the fuck out of this cell phone, and then
my
like
cell phone.
Well, that's what I'm gonna say is like then later on, like I'm talking to him, and I'm like, dude, are you okay? He's like, yeah, relatively okay. All I did was slam my cell phone, and then you go, actually, that was my cell phone.
Yeah, so it was so fucking funny because the Gorilla Position desk, our main headquarters running all of this shit, thousands of dollars of equipment, sits upon a fucking $20 plastic ass table that is sometimes provided from the fucking venue. And he is so mad that and from what I understand, everything over the stream was coming through fine. It just wasn't coming through his headphones through the switcher the right way that he normally listens to it. It was just coming out of the computer. He fucking chops the desk so hard. First, he hits the cell phone on the desk, which was my cell phone. It wasn't his. He grabbed the wrong one. He grabs mine, slams it down. Then it's still not going, and he goes, fuck, and just slams chops the table with an open hand. And I was shocked the legs of this table didn't just snap off. My whole computer bounces in the air. The song restarts over. Anthony Young's song starts over. It was fucking insane. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's all right. It's still going.
So, when I'm worrying about this Eric Taylor thing and trying to coordinate all this, like, I gotta tell I gotta go tell Chase Alpha we gotta go to intermission now. And I'm just like, oh God.
Get chopped in the chest.
I mean, it's just like, it's like walking into a volcano sometimes, So I'm just like, oh God, like
I can.
I'm worried about Eric. I'm worried about like the show. Like is this poor kid like, is his foot gonna fall off? And then I gotta go like I gotta go fucking. Hey Chase, we actually gotta go to intermission now. Do you have that video queued up? Which like he did not.
Right.
But luckily, he was able to get everything. Relatively smooth, and like
I thought it looked great.
I think we took a little extra for intermission to kind of let people breathe a little bit, and we got back on track as much as we could.
I mean, I think I can relate to him in a way where I think he puts a lot into this. All those videos you see, all this video packaging, all the stuff, the lower thirds, everything, he puts a lot of work into this, and when it doesn't go how you want it to, especially, and it's just crazy because as somebody who works with electronics and you use electronic equipment and computers and these programs and stuff, and we have so much stuff up and running, sometimes this shit just doesn't work.
Right. I mean, the guy from GoPro was there hanging out, and he was like, hey man, like we got way nicer stuff than you guys, and it goes wrong all the time for no explanation. Like he's like, we won't change a thing, and like it will just go wrong. He's like, that's just you cannot explain some of these electronics and how they work.
Yeah, so it's just like this feeling that you get when you're trying so hard and you're trying to put forth a product, and we're trying to like, up the game and up the level of what we're producing and what we're putting out and trying so hard, and when it just doesn't work, it's very frustrating. So I can relate to him in that sense personally.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just kind of busting his balls a little bit.
Oh, of course.
But,
I know. I'm just saying. Like, I feel it.
I was like, oh God, I gotta fucking go tell him that we gotta go to intermission too. Like,
you saw what he did to that desk. You didn't want him to do that to you.
It's just like, it's just, there's a lot of things, that I have to manage. Like, so thankfully, we were able to kind of get through it, and as smoothly as possible, and get the show back running with the spin the wheel, make the deal a little bit later than it was intended to happen on the show.
Now, this match is something that I just want to say that I piped this up a lot. I hyped it, and I said, that this was a match to come out and see, that Tom and Josh would deliver, and my God, boy, did they ever, in my opinion. It was such a great match. What were your thoughts?
I thought that they spun. Okay, so they literally can't plan anything, because they didn't know what they were gonna do, and like they spun and landed on like the easiest one. They got a door match,
right? And
I was like, this could not have gone better for you guys.
Yeah. And
then the crowd starts chanting respin.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like,
well, so Tom kind of set it up too because he wanted his music. He wanted the bone, 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 which was his new music that he's given to me. He wanted that played while he spun it. And he claimed, I remember he yelled back, we have to do it again and play the music. So that's why I then hit the music so he could do it. And boy, did it deliver, in my opinion, on what they landed on.
I was just like, okay, like now what the fuck are you gonna do? Because like they decided, like Pedro and them decided these stipulations on like Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So like those hoods were just like drawstring bags that were literally pitch black. Like you could not see a thing. Mm-hmm. Tom tried it on before the show. He's like, because he kept joking, like, I want a Prince of Darkness match. And he tried it on, and like he thought that like he was reaching for Dom, and like Dom was not even in the room. Like he took it off, and like he was like about to like grapple a wall.
And that was one of the funniest things too, because like you said, he tried the bag on prior, and when they was fucking around with that, and that's when a bunch of us were like, oh God, please, I would love to see it land on the Prince of Darkness match, because I just felt like it had such potential with those bags, because Tom, for the minute that he had it on, was like, oh, you could tell, like we said, peek behind the curtain, we were back there when he tried it on, he literally gave us he was like, oh, I can't see shit. Like, I had no idea what was going on under there. So we were like, yes.
Right. So like, I don't know why they like didn't respin again. Like, it's like once you've spun once, you know what I mean? Like, the crowd just wanted them to spin, you know what I mean? But then like they're just like, okay, we're gonna do this, and I'm like, why are you guys doing this match? Like, you literally cannot see.
And I felt like for that too, what they did and what the outcome, the match and what they had, I thought it was so great. It kind of showed to me. It kind of showed that Josh can have a match like that where he doesn't have to always be, super serious, big, tough guy, whatever. He can go out there and he can show you a little bit of himself and kind of, work a little bit. Tom, we know, is capable of that. Like I said, I think Tom was a great person to have this kind of match. And I think Josh showed a lot personally to me. The guy's obviously former AIW champ. He's respected around AIW big time. But I just think he showed so much in this match of just that he can do a lot. There was comedy.
Yeah, it was all on the fly.
Match.
I mean, it was all on the fly. Like, nothing was called. I mean, I thought it was so smart that, once they found Clemens, they took him out, and then, Josh took the hood off.
Right.
That was all shit that they did they just did it all on the fly. Like, it was just, I thought it was, you want to talk about over-delivered. Like, I think that this definitely over-delivered as far as entertainment factor. I think the crowd was just, like, the sparsely attended crowd was certainly going nuts for this entire thing. I thought it was super entertaining. I was dying laughing at certain points, which, when it's done, you just go, oh, fuck, Eric Taylor's at the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, but I was just like, it was exactly what everybody needed, coming off of that.
Oh yeah.
Because it was so funny. Like, I had tears in my eyes. I was laughing so hard.
When he took that hood off and went, shh, to everyone, I was dying laughing.
Well, then I start calling stuff on the fly, and I'm like, oh, get him. I was like, Steve, get somebody to get him some shots of tequila and make him drink tequila in the middle of it. Like, I was just fucking with them too. And like, so somebody brought him shots of tequila, and I made Steve call like a timeout and make him do it. Like, that was all, like, none of that was planned. It was certainly a lot of fun, and it was not planned to. So, like, you want to talk about on the fly? People were going so crazy for it, and it was so funny, and like, it was going for so long. Josh and Tom were both just going to be in the gauntlet on May 20th, and I said, I kind of whispered to Josh when it was over. I said, challenge him to the rematch of the gauntlet. And like, so that was on the fly too. They didn't know that either. So, that was just like, every little piece of that was just like all just improv. And I thought it was great. I mean, if you didn't stream the show on Fite, certainly go out of your way to stream it.
Yeah, I think it was the perfect match to, like you said, kind of get people back in the state of wanting to be at wrestling and have fun at wrestling and watch a wrestling match after unfortunate
which was not
like
that. I mean, it's just one of those, that was just one of those happy coincidences, you know what I mean?
It was just
because,
luckily,
like,
yeah.
And that match could have been awful. It could have been so bad, they didn't even know. Like, all day they're just like, I don't fucking know what we're gonna do, and luckily, they were able to just kind of go out there and work on the fly and improv and engage the crowd, and I just thought it was great. I mean, I really can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, it's definitely one to seek out on Fight Plus, that's for sure. Moving on to the final match of the night, another match, like we said, that definitely over-delivered. We kind of discussed it a little bit at the top of the show, but the Cibernetico match, I thought it was a great match. 68-something minutes of really great, story and flow, that ended, like you said, with, team on team. It ended up with team captain versus number one pick from the team.
Right. I thought it was great. I mean, I thought it was a great story, especially for both of them who trained together to kind of be put in this crazy situation and, come out, as the last two standing. I thought it was great. Shaw has been obviously, kind of a standout from that class, but this gave a lot of people a lot of time to shine. I think people are definitely sleeping on the slugger, Austin James. I think he was able to show quite a bit in there. Tyson Riggs, got to show a little bit more than usual in there. I mean, even members only. But I mean, Big Sam Holloway has been, really starting to figure it out. And I thought that this was great. I think it's, puts him with a tremendous opportunity, the biggest match of his life on May 20th. I'm certainly looking forward to it because, I mean, I think Sam certainly has all the tools to be, a guy that makes it to the next level if he can get in there with people that can, help him figure it out. And I think that this is, this is just the next step in the progression of Sam Holloway. And I'm really looking forward to him versus Cardona on May 20th.
Yeah, I think Sam has had a trajectory that you can't deny. I mean, like you said, he had a lot of great matches. Then he has the great match with Kaplan, gets the W, gets to the number one pick, for Shaw, and then comes out with the dub here. I think he's just on a path. The kid's showing you a lot, and now to be able to get in the ring with Cardona, yeah, it's going to be. That's just an opportunity too for a guy. He gets to work a guy who's been around. He's worked all over the place. Worked WWE. He calls himself, the king of the Indies. All this stuff. It's definitely something for Sam to take and learn and in every aspect, an in-ring, a prep for it, promos, putting, everything, every sense, I think.
Yeah, and I think, it's just, you got to take a shot, and you got to, see if people get behind somebody or not. You know what I mean? And
I definitely think
this is his big opportunity.
I definitely think he has potential for that because when he won, I mean, you definitely think the crowd was definitely behind him. The crowd enjoyed the outcome. Not to say that people didn't want Shaw to win. I think Shaw has had another standout performance. He's put so many of these together now. Even though he didn't get the win, I still think this was a great standout performance for him. But when Big Sam got the win, there was definitely. There was definitely elation from the crowd. I know the Margarine man loved it. He was a big fan. I know there's a lot of people that are big fans of Sam, and they're very excited to see where this is going to go. Yeah,
it's just like that's the only way, we're going to establish new stars, in quotes in this company is, taking a shot and, seeing what happens. And, I don't think anybody expected Sam Holloway to walk out the winner. And I certainly think that you probably shouldn't underestimate Sam Holloway to walk out the winner on May 20th. And I certainly don't think that you can predict who's going to walk out as the winner of the gauntlet on May 20th. This is just kind of setting the tone that we're willing to take shots and we're willing to get behind people maybe earlier than we should. And, that is, that's just the nature of the beast in keeping this company going. And, we always say we're built to last, and, you got to build new people if you want to last. And, that is our intention, moving forward. And, this is kind of the big first step in that. So I'm very excited with, how things are laid out for the next few months. And, I think that people are going to appreciate the changes that are to come.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, with the Cibernetico match, there was a lot of talent in there, and there was a lot of people who stepped up and kind of shown that they can be a threat. Like you said, AJ, I mean, the Gauntlet, you got 30 people. There's a lot of different entrants that are going to be in this. There's a lot of people in AIW that could win on any given match or whatever. I know that's like one of the oldest cliches and whatever, but we have a lot of people in AIW that can kind of come out of nowhere and make a little bit of a run. AJ, like you said, is somebody that's definitely stood out in recently. Tyson Riggs, he came back. He had a few matches there where it was a little suspect. Now he comes into the Cibernetico, has a nice little run in there. Shows, hey, the settings are right. He can make some moves. Sid Von England was in that match. Another guy, personally, that could, anything can happen. There's a lot of names in AIW that can get thrown around. Chase Oliver, another one. He wasn't on the card this time, but that's another guy in matches you say he never really wins, he never really loses. Chase is a guy that his music could hit at that Gauntlet, and you never know what's going to happen. There's just a lot of names in AIW that could surprise you at any time.
And I mean, just to gauge expectations, there's a lot of shows going on that weekend. So, much kind of like WWE, like it's really not going to be surprise driven at Gauntlet this year. I just want to get that out there. I know people like that and all that stuff, but it just wasn't in the cards this year for, we're doing it on a Saturday, and, there's just a lot of stuff going on that day. So, we're deciding to kind of focus on our crew. So just want to put that out there now.
I would also venture to say, though, that's kind of where AIW is as a whole anymore. I mean, a lot of our shows are kind of main roster driven, and we're building these people and we're building these stars, and that's kind of what we're doing. I know Gauntlet is a bit of a special attraction, but I just kind of think that's where AIW is these days.
And I mean, that's just, that's the plan. So
right.
I think Cibernetico, while scarcely attended or whatever we keep saying it was, I think it certainly did help set the tone for what we're going to do going forward. Hopefully people, attend the other shows more than this one, or else we will maybe need to, replan this new plan already. But I'm looking forward to it, and I don't know if there's any questions in the Discord or not. I didn't look, but
we got a bunch of questions. There was a whole lot. People started sending me direct message questions. There was a lot of them. We'll start though with the ones in the room. Let's see here.
Where you're looking, I just want to shout out to Colin Delaney, who got married over the weekend. Attended that on Saturday. It was lots of fun was had. And, it was a good time. So congrats to Colin. Hopefully we can get him and Cheech back in the coming months. Now that because he wasn't taking really bookings and leading up to the wedding. But
smart man. You don't want to piss the wife off, Okay, we got the hashtag going in the Ask AIW. So Scott Random starts it off. Is there anybody else from ECW left that you would like to book? Anybody on your list?
Just off the top of my head, Danny Doring, I think. I would have loved to have booked Simon Diamond or somebody like that, but I think, he had some health issues last year. But I think, that's alive. Probably Danny Doring might be the last man standing.
Okay. Devin asks, where is Tim Donst? Great question.
Pennsylvania.
So somewhere in rural PA, we think?
Yeah. I mean, I talk to him occasionally. I just don't, I don't think he's wrestling as much right now. It's just, once, when we stopped bringing in all those cars from the East Coast, it's just kind of, you know what I mean? Like, was not cost effective, really, to bring him in anymore. And, he had, I don't know, he probably had a 10-year run or something. So, I'm sure he'll be back, but it's just, he's just not figured into the plans right now. I know he's kind of trying to figure out life, so to speak. So,
moving forward, Sean asks, any update? We kind of covered this one. Any update on Eric Taylor? We kind of covered that already.
Yeah, I mean, nothing since we started recording.
We'll try to get something next week. Like I said, we're trying to do these on a weekly basis, so we'll try to have some more info for you. Porter asks, why doesn't his key card to Intense Towers not work? I don't think that's grammatically correct. Big Dan kind of corrected him on that. So it does work? I kind of laughed at that.
He's not getting us enough sponsors. In fact, somebody tried to get a discount sponsorship already.
My goodness. I just like bringing up Porter. That's my guy. I love that dude. I just like saying his name.
He was like, "Oh, I was going to give you I was going to take you to round 2 of the Cavs playoffs."
That's the Cavs' fault. They didn't make it to round 2. See?
Likely excuse blaming it on the Cavs, Porter.
EVP of Health, Jeremy asks, how is it decided who gets merch space? Especially among the new kids, we have a lot of AIW talent. So how is it kind of divvied up back there?
If it was up to me, none of them would get merch space, and there's a lot of times where I got to walk through and I got to say, you got to move your shit because X, Y, and Z need a table, Matt Cardona is going to get a table, so sorry, you got to move the Bear Shark flyers or something, it's just, it was like really crazy at the Odeon, you know what I mean? I'd walk in and there'd be a full Bitcoin Boys shop set up where Minoru Suzuki's going to do his meet and greet, you know what I mean? It's okay, guys, we need this table. So it's not really decided, it's kind of just like a free for all, especially kind of Cibernetico. People are just you know what I mean? They know that there's really nobody that's going to bump them. So it's first come, first serve sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of surprised that the in-ring isn't utilized more for selling merch. I feel like, hanging a shirt on the ropes, that kind of sitting there doing that, I feel like that should be utilized a little more.
Well, you got to tell these kids.
Empty space, How come, Jeremy also asks, how come Tom doesn't sell merch? He has he never has merch. I don't think Tom's ever had a shirt.
I don't think he has any merch. Yeah. He flies with his gear and that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? He doesn't check a bag. I don't think he wants to check a bag. I don't think he wants to lose a checked bag. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing is if I fly somebody and they're checking a merch bag, they pay for that. They don't get reimbursed for that. You know? So I don't, some people don't want to, take that $100 hit, you know what I mean? Because they're already starting off in the red to kind of fly around with merch.
Yeah, that's definitely, and it would be, to me, I would just be worried they're going to lose it. With all the things that happen with bags and checked bags and time and how close, times and, with these layovers and stuff, I'd be worried. Well, that's kind of it, all we have for podcast questions. If you'd like to ask questions, if you're new around here, we do have a Patreon. We have a Discord where you can ask these questions. There's kind of people in the Discord all the time, just kind of chatting about different stuff. If you'd like to join that, it's different levels of the podcast. But it's a $5 level, correct, John?
Yeah, $5 gets you in the Discord.
There you go. Plenty of stuff announced in there. I know matches a lot of times are announced first in there, stuff like that. So definitely stuff you want to check out. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be doing some more podcast stuff. I know you said front row is sold out for Gauntlet, and second and third are pretty slim as far as premium tickets.
Yeah, I think there's 10 maybe in each row left, and then it's GA. And so
you definitely want to get on that.
That is what it is with GA. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it's a big room there at East Lake Forest Sports, but you definitely don't want to sleep on the tickets if you're trying to sit down. That's for sure.
Right. And we're trying to pack it. You know what I mean? We got to make up for this Cibernetico. So
Gauntlet is a show.
May 20th.
I don't think you want to miss Gauntlet. That's a show. That's a staple of AIW. You know what I mean? Battle Royal. That's a good one. It's the one you want to see. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here, John?
Rumble Royale.
Rumble Royale, excuse me, yes.
No, nothing. I just please watch the Cibernetico replay on Fite so we can try to recoup some of this loss. Doom and Gloom is back on the podcast for the first time in a while.
Doom and Gloom. Which one are you, Doom or Gloom?
I think I'm Gloom.
I was going to say you both or what?
I think Chase Oliver's Doom.
Oh man, I love that guy so much, but boy, he scared the hell out of me when he pounded that. Because as the sound guy, like whenever a song, like if it pauses or buffers for a split second just during pre-show, just like that type of shit, my heart skips. We're at entrance music and the song skips, my heart fucking skipped a beat.
Trust me, man. I had to do an impromptu intermission. Yeah, talk about skipping a heartbeat.
Worried he's going to chop you. All right.
Let's sell those tickets, get those streams, you know what I mean? Doom and
definitely
Gloom. I think I'm just going to name this podcast Doom and Gloom is back on the podcast.
Doom is Gloom is back or sparsely attended, whichever one you think. So yeah, check it out on Fight Plus. Definitely, like I said, you definitely want to check out the Cibernetico match. Definitely want to check out the Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal, because we are coming back with that at Gauntlet rematch style. Get those tickets for Gauntlet. 8
different stipulations they're going to do too.
Yeah, different ones. So check that out.
Although I think maybe they should put Prince of Darkness back on there.
I cannot disagree with that. I loved it so much. Like I said, get those tickets to Gauntlet. Let's check it out on Fight Plus, Cibernetico. We'll see you next week. We'll be back here for AIW's John Thorne. For me, Ronald Two Legs. We'll see you. Bye. Thanks.